Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now June 16th of 2020. We are now in the middle of this year. We're only getting closer to the beginning of 2021, which is going to be a very important year for Disney and Lucasfilm, as they are really trying to build this new expanded universe in the forms of books, novels, comics, video games, movies, and TV shows, and so on and so forth. That's really going to make up this new EU. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, the thing about Disney Star Wars is that we do know that they are now trying to build upon what George Lucas created back in 1977. If it weren't for George, we wouldn't have Star Wars at all. And that's essentially what Bob Chapek and Bob Iger are trying to do right now, is that they're really trying to evolve the franchise to make it better and more successful than it ever was before. They want to match it up against the MCU, also known as the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Not that they're necessarily competing with their own brand, they just want to have two successful franchises at the same exact time, and they really can't afford any more losses during this time since, of course, this global crisis that's happening around the entire world. Now, of course, given the situation here, we do know that they are now in a phase of damage control. There's no doubt about that. You know, they're trying to really deliver more authentic stories that are more in tune with the vision of George Lucas. And I gotta at least give Disney credit to at least trying now to satisfy the fans. Is it very much late to do this? Absolutely. They should have done this from the very beginning. I don't know why they didn't do this from the beginning, but here we are. You know, we are done with the sequel trilogy, and now they're trying to bring the fans in a better direction. So, moving on beyond all of this, currently the Star Wars franchise is being reformed by many individuals, such as Disney CEO Bob Chapek and Bob Iger, and even Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige, to handle the backbone of the new Star Wars universe moving forward. Now, it's explained that Disney has multiple plans in place in order to evolve the Star Wars brand for the entire decade that's going to bring fans into new timelines and more. It's noted that one of the Star Wars projects that Kathleen Kennedy has control over is the Leslye Headland Star Wars TV series for Disney+, where it's explained that behind the scenes, Leslye Headland has been in the talks with actress Brie Larson to make her way into the Star Wars franchise. It's described that Brie Larson hates Star Wars fans and only wants to help Leslye Headland create new Star Wars fans for the future of the actual franchise. Brie Larson is said to believe that Star Wars fans are primarily over-demanding men that only want men in the Star Wars movies, that she wants to change that with the all-female-led Star Wars TV show and wants to become a part of the movement in the Star Wars brand that Leslye Headland is initiating as we speak. Alright, let me stop right here for a second, because this is completely wrong. It's not that, you know, it's men that are being overly demanding with how the story should be told. It was actually both men and women that had a big issue with The Last Jedi and the overall direction of the sequel trilogy by Disney. Again, we do know that Captain Marvel was honestly a very controversial movie. A lot of fans, really didn't necessarily like it. It was almost like the Marvel's version of The Last Jedi. That's the best way I could personally describe it, and that's just how I see things. A lot of fans were really much against that movie because of Brie's performance in the actual film. Now, moving on from this, Brie Larson is said to be providing her own acting style for the Leslye Headland Star Wars TV show and is excited to work with an all-female-led Star Wars TV series where Brie Larson is best described to have big problems with Star Wars fans, given that she was very offended of how they reacted to the film by director Rian Johnson, who focused on a powerful female-led character known as Rey in the film, and that in Brie's eyes, the fans only had issues with the film because it was not driven by a male lead, which, by the way, is completely false. We only had an issue with the movie because of what they did with Luke Skywalker, and how he was portrayed by Rian Johnson, and how the overall story was just boring. Just completely, utterly boring. That's the best way to really say it. And that Brie Larson is also offended of how the fans treat Kathleen Kennedy with her direction of Star Wars. Well, listen, we can all have the right to criticize, right? We all have the right to voice our opinion. I think passionate fans, when it comes to the Star Wars fandom, it's very important to voice your opinion because it lets Disney know exactly what's going on wrong and what's going on right here with the Star Wars franchise, and we showed them with The Last Jedi. We absolutely showed them. You know, they were kind of learning their lesson with The Rise of Skywalker. You know, you had JJ and Chris on board giving us this amazing movie until Kathleen Kennedy stepped in again and did all these reshoots and rewrites. But now they have finally learned their lesson, and that's why we are seeing a major reconstruction of the Star Wars brand, you know, when it comes to television and new movies and everything else involved with this new universe, that I really think is going to really be quite something else that's going to really make fans happy, and that is something that I'm looking forward to, all but this one project with, of course, Leslye and Brie. So, with that being said, guys, you know, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.